Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op.
Hello, Couch Co-opers, Couch Potatoes, and Couch Codependents. This is the Couch Co-op Show. I'm your host, Ian, and joining me tonight is Jared, Dave, and Aaron. Full house.
Yo.
Yeah, please do me a favor and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Couch Co-op Shows, all one word.
No hyphen.
Now let's get to the show. How's everybody doing tonight? Well, we're doing fine because we just recorded a fucking episode of beer videos.
Yeah, we get primed before we record
Right.
Couch Co-op now.
Now it's easy.
The new couch, same as the old couch.
Just
Yeah, Couch Co-op.
way drunker.
The drunk edition Couch Co-op.
I don't know about drunk, but more happy
more,
and positive.
Lubricated.
Happy.
Ready to go.
Happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do the practice round, and then we do our classic Couch Co-op.
That's right.
So I have this new idea that I told you about earlier, and we'll get into it for a second, but I just want to make sure, because of the news that dropped yesterday, I mean, I don't have to start doing background checks on you guys. I mean, none of you guys are pedophiles, right?
No.
I don't think so. They let me into the country, and I don't know what
Yeah.
they're talking
No,
about.
not last time I checked.
So the
I
Grump
haven't been
Gamers
told
or
to get away
Gamer
from the
Grumps
school, so.
or whatever, one of them's a pedophile, we found out yesterday. And,
Yeah, I don't know who they are.
Know who they
So.
were.
I don't even know who they are. I didn't know who they are either.
I
But
saw something. I saw that name today in the news, and I'm like, Gamer Grumps? I don't know who they are.
But if you guys need a place to come, non-pedophile gaming news and content, Couch Co-op. All right, guys. So my idea was that in these days when we don't have a focused topic, we'll do roundtable topic, and each one of us will have a topic. We'll just pick one thing. We'll talk about it for a few minutes and then move on. And it'll just be a little more simplified version of the show. We don't get lost in the weeds too much. So yeah, who has a topic that wants to go first?
Well, I've got one.
Okay.
Fresh from today, actually. So, it's the ever-evolving quest to get a PlayStation 5.
Oh yeah, you're still trying.
So I'm trying. So, I tell you one thing. So, it's interesting how the different sites and the different places handle it, compared to. So Walmart's just, I think Ian described it best in the Discord chat, is just bot central. It's the site never loads, you can never get one in. It's you can obviously tell that they're selling out in 5 seconds. Sony is a little fairer. They do the queue, and then they put you randomly in the queue, which is kind of sucks in some respects, but doesn't in others.
Plus, you have to have a login, so that kind of lowers the chances of bots because you have to have a PSN login.
I do really like that you have to have a PSN login, and it specifically says that if you've already bought one, they won't let you buy another. So I really do like that. And so in some respects, and then there's Best Buy, which I know Ryan got one from. And
also kind of bots, though.
Yeah, kind of botty, but not as botty as Walmart. Target. Amazon apparently is meant to have some time, but who knows when. They never release it. You know what I really wish they'd done with this console release is they just sold them through Sony. Screw Walmart, screw Best Buy, screw, do the Sony thing.
They control the bot problem.
If you don't have a PSN ID, I mean, treat the customers who've been your customers first, and I think that's the way forward. Honestly.
Yeah. Then unfortunately, there's that whole customer relationship. That Sony
the
has
partnership
to manage.
with the stores. They can't not do that without getting you know. But I agree,
That's
Dave.
true.
It was such a better experience. Like Jared and I, you know, got ours no problem.
It
Yeah.
was so
Well,
nice.
exactly.
I loved it.
I got put into a random queue, but it was nice to know that at least everyone in the queue, even if they were a bot, even if they were a bot, they had to have like a, it's, it's kind of frustrating because I've had PlayStation Plus for a couple of years now. It's not like
Right.
probably the last decade actually now. So it's not like I haven't given Sony the money. It just feels okay, so what you're gonna let Walmart and do all their crap. And then the other thing is, I have been able to add them to my cart once or twice, but then they're gone once they're added to the cart. It almost feels like some of the websites need to focus on like once it's in a cart.
Yeah.
It's
not.
It's yours at least for the next 15 minutes, kind of like they do with Ticketmaster when you choose a ticket for your venue, and you've got like 10 minutes or 15 minutes to purchase that ticket.
Do we know the specifics on Ryan's purchase? Did he buy it online and picked it up from Tualatin, or did he call Tualatin and like I don't know the specifics.
I think he got it online because it took a week to get here.
Yeah, he had to wait for it to show up to the location.
Right. So he wasn't. So all the blowjobs he gave to that Fred Meyer manager didn't pay off.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No, so I
never did.
I just think that Sony and Microsoft in some respects, need to, and Walmart and buy, and not just from the PlayStation 5, but it seems like a lot of products are like this nowadays, and it's like, how do you distribute something that's a limited supply fairly?
Well, it's also, Dave, it's obviously just incredible supply constraints because of COVID right now. Like, I imagine that honestly, Sony doesn't want this either. They wish they were cranking them out, but they just don't have the necessary components to make the console right now. So they have to like literally kind of bleed them out.
And it's also kind of funny because there's no real big system sellers. Like,
yeah, right?
That's the other thing that I want one because I want one, but it's like it's not like any other console launch where there's a game I've got my eye on. Like PlayStation 4 was Destiny.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting too? I posted that article in our Discord, but it already looks like the PS5 is ahead of PS4 launch sales. Like, so it's actually pretty crazy that it's doing so well.
On a side note to this, with all the Bitcoin and all the rest of it, when the pandemic started, actually just a little bit before it started, I bought a RTX 580 8 GB graphics card for my PC. And I paid, I want to say $150 for it used. It was someone had used it for a mining rig, obviously, and I just got it cheap.
Have you ever seen those mining rigs? It is ridiculous.
There's a good
it is like hundreds of graphics cards mounted in this like grid, and they're just mining Bitcoin or whatever. It's ridiculous.
At
and
at almost $40,000 at Bitcoin, I'd be mining too with that much shit. Holy cow!
Needless to say, this graphics card, it's been out for a long while. You've got one as well,
right?
It's like I paid 150 used, and I checked on eBay the other day, and now it's like 250 used.
Yeah, our friend Justin's on our Discord, and he was talking about how his 1080 is going for 400 used, and knew that card. This card is ancient at this point, but that card's going for like $1,300. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's absurd.
Anyway, cool topic, Dave. I enjoyed it. I agree that I do feel that PSN is the best way to get the console, if you can get it, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, there's still lines to wait in.
So really the not moral of the story is I wish Sony had kept more of the consoles to distribute themselves and given less to the...
You should really try and flex that Costco thing. Don't you have a Costco card? You should really try.
Yeah, I do, and I keep missing it. I'm trying, I'll check 2 or 3 times a day, and today I just happened to check.
Right.
Like, before the queue went on the Sony Direct, and it seems like Best Buy is pretty consistent on the Friday drop, so... Yeah,
Sony's all over the place.
Yeah, because Ryan had good luck with it, and I'll probably miss the Amazon drop because no one ever knows when that's coming, and they announce it and then it's gone. So.
All right, who wants to go next? Who's got a topic?
Go.
I mean, you guys should all have a topic, but Jerry, go ahead.
So, a lot of stores are shutting down in the PlayStation ecosystem. You won't be able to buy games on PlayStation Network for PS3, PlayStation Vita, PSP, all that stuff. And it's just another feather in the hat for Microsoft because everything they're doing is so consumer and game friendly where you can still buy some of their oldest shit and play it on their new consoles, no problem.
Now, Jared,
And
first of all,
Sony's like, no,
Jared,
you can't do this.
Before
No.
you carry on too further, this is still rumor and conjecture. There's rumor that Sony is going to shut this down, which makes sense because Jim Ryan is anti-old video games, but this hasn't been officially announced yet.
And I have a counterpoint. Xbox isn't that great because I made a game with zombies in it. It's not been available for the last 5+ years.
Oh, they got rid of it off their store?
Yeah, you can't buy it from the store. I've got a copy on my hard drive.
That game was so good.
I know.
Yeah, but
that was a good game.
Obviously, there's been a really solid source because every news media outlet is reporting on this, and even the ones that you go to for like factual news reports are reporting on it. So this isn't just some piece of paper
That's
that
a slow news
threw in
day.
a garbage
Just
bin.
a slow news day.
Yeah. So.
Well, here's my take on this, Jared. I'm okay with them shutting the store down.
Yeah.
I am concerned that I won't be able to continue to download the content I bought.
Yeah, that's true.
That is the only real concern. I don't really care about buying. Are you serious? Buying a new game on my PS3? Give me a break. I don't care about that. But in the digital future, I need to know that those servers will allow me to continue to download the games I bought. And then if they don't, then that is the loss of the digital future and makes my PS5 a worrisome console. Even though I'll probably be dead by the time they take that store offline.
Yeah, probably.
And buying it on disc is no savior because I was reading about Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 recently. And they released that the day before the license ran out because they wanted to get one last one in. So all that's included on the disc is the tutorial.
Right.
As soon as you put that in, it downloads the whole game, which is like a 8 gig.
Well, and that's talking about like games that are completely broken and needed a patch. So like you install the game on your PS3 with the disc, but it's the fucking shit version, and you're just fucked. You know?
When was the last time you put a disc in your PlayStation and it went shook, installed, and it didn't say downloading patch?
Yeah, I know.
Just a couple of gigabytes.
Too. Well, so this has been a problem with movies too. People buy digital movies, and from Apple and any other service, they'll just disappear because the rights ran out or some garbage like that. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, we can pull it from under you as whenever we want.
Yeah,
That's part of the contract.
A big issue with like downloading older games because a lot of the early 2000s games, they only signed the music rights for 10 years.
Right.
Oh yeah. Any game with
and so they can't
music.
redistribute that game because they don't have the rights for the music or they don't have the rights for something that's in the game.
But overall, I'm okay with them closing down the store. That's fine. I just I don't want to lose my content, and if I lose my content, then that is, that's a sword through the heart of digital downloading. I should be able to.
The remastered version.
Well, I get that, but come on, there's some games I can't.
Yep.
They're never going to be remastered. They're not going to.
Right.
Here's a stupid one. Here's a story on top of Jared's story, not a topic, but like because of that, I actually went to my PS3 and went through the store and downloaded things I wanted to make sure I had. So I have Saboteur on disc, totally fine. But the DLC where you get the boobies, I wanted to make sure I had it on my console in case I ever wanted to play the game again. And like if the store shuts down and I can't download old content, I want to make sure I had that. I bought that.
That will be
Right.
interesting because like a lot of games have even back on the PS3 had day one patches and stuff like that. Like I couldn't imagine they could shut it 100% down to make games that were unplayable playable.
I hope so.
But
I hope.
it's also like the move from VHS to DVD. There's so many movies on VHS that have never been released on DVD. I mean, if they shut down the stores, then.
But at the same time, there must be anecdotal evidence that shows that like no one is fucking using this, and as much yelling as they're gonna make, these servers are not being used.
So that's why I mentioned Microsoft in the beginning, is because since like Xbox the original, people can still go on to Xbox Store and buy said game and play it on their newest Xbox console.
Except Dishwasher, Samurai, whatever.
Yeah, there's a handful of games that they can't, but Sony has never really done that until now, where we can play PS4 games on the PS5. But I feel that not a lot of games would be purchased on the PS5 if they were PS3, Vita, or PSP games. But there would still be some fan base that would be supportive of that, and it could thrive. I don't know how well.
I think what you'll find is because I was looking at there's a PlayStation 1 mod basically where you unplug the CD drive and you plug in an SD card reader, and then you just download the ROMs illegally, and it's like you're putting the disc in there and it boots up, does all the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean now all that stuff
10 years
retro.
down the line, because how old's the PlayStation 3 now?
I mean it's old. It's
came out in 05, 06?
Yeah.
I was living with Jared when I got mine.
Yeah, I remember that.
I just graduated out of high school when that
was 15
came out.
years ago. I mean,
No, I had it before I met.
Remember what year?
I had it.
But yeah.
No. Yeah, I had it before I moved in with Jared. So it was, when did I?
It had to have happened in like 07, 08.
So
like
it
that.
dropped in like. Well, when did Jason? So when did I get divorced? That's 2008. Jared.
I met you.
It was like 2006, something like that. Something like there. 2005, 2006. Anyway.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, it was 2006 November.
Yeah, that's when I actually met
I think the PlayStation.
Because Jason would bring his over all the time and we'd play Warhawk and shit.
Yeah, it was 07.
Warhawk and Halo.
This is way before.
06? 06 in North America, yeah.
No,
yeah, because Xbox was the year before.
Yeah, that's wild.
Right.
Yeah, right.
That's
right.
Crazy I was working at Best Buy when that shit came out. Way back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost forgot you worked for them.
Awesome. Aaron, do you have a topic?
I do, actually. And this one this was a new one, but it's been on my mind a lot. And the dawn of the remake of games. I've been playing a bit of remake games lately, like the Final Fantasy remake, which awesome. I played the Resident Evil 2 remake, which I don't know how I feel about it because I remember the original one versus the new one. And my question is, are they going to keep trying to do this? Or I know there's a lot of new ideas out there, a ton of ideas, but honestly, I feel like
Aaron, they're going to keep doing it. So much money. So much money.
Well, yeah,
there's so much nostalgia money in that shit.
And I have a side question for you, though. It's like, when is it too early for a remake? Because, the remake of Resident Evil 4 and,
well, obviously Demon Souls got a remake, so, like, what is the year difference between Demon Souls and Demon Souls Remastered? True. That's, like, probably, that's your answer right there, because that's probably the quickest turnaround on a...
I also think, because some of them have been translated to the PC, it's actually not that difficult to up them to the next generation or the generation after. And we're getting
yeah. I mean,
Aaron, I'd like you to complete your thoughts there.
Well, I just feel like there's so many remakes happening. At first, it was like once in a while, like, oh, there's a remake for this game. Oh, there's a remake for that game. Now I just feel like I hear it's remake of fucking, like I said, Final Fantasy VII, Resident Evil 3 coming. Then there's also, obviously they did the remake of Ratchet and Clank, which was awesome. But it's just like, oh my gosh, are they ever gonna like just not kill them, but not do them as frequently? Because I feel like I hear about it a lot in the news that this is being like the Mass Effect trilogy. They're redoing that.
Yeah, but that's not
And
a
I was like,
remake. That's
God,
like
leave
a.
it the well, not remake, but like
Well, it's kind of.
re-release.
It's like a.
The first one's more of a retooling, I guess
Oh
you would
yeah,
call
that
that.
one was ugh. The
And
first time I played,
a
but
slight update, but not
I
like
mean, it's a version. It's a
revamp.
version of it. It's not like complete rework, like
no, yeah,
Ratchet and
absolutely.
Clank
And
or
then
Demon Souls, but it is like a remastered. But Aaron,
well,
the,
then
the
they're
answer is there's
remastering.
so much money. It's easy work. It's a quick, easy work for them, and it's so much
I
money because
know.
people are so attached to those games.
And it's the same argument with movies and why they make sequels. I mean, really, it's like if you
Well, I mean,
look
they
at
do it to music too,
100
Dave.
million,
Reissue, remastered, digital. I mean, they
And
do it
then
for they do it for everything.
yeah, if you're gonna risk,
Well,
it costs so much to make a game or a movie
and
nowadays that
another question also for that is, are they ever gonna just like when is how to explain this? Like when is the right time? Like how, like you said earlier, when was the best time? Because it's just I don't know. I feel like they're just doing it just because they're lazy in a sense. Like
Well,
Maybe,
lazy.
I'm glad that they didn't do a remake of Demon Souls one generation later. I'm glad they didn't make that available on PS4 because then I think a lot of people would have been like, "Why? It just came out like for the last system. Why is this a remake?" So
Well,
they actually went. I think it has to be a generational leap to actually be a proper remake.
right.
but do you not
That makes
think that game could run on the PS4? It's a PS5 exclusive, but it could have been a PS4 game.
yeah. Because I
I
played
feel
on
like that's
PS3.
a. I feel like that's a. Oh, we'll just hold it here. No one really loves this. I mean, people love this game, but it's a niche. We'll force this niche to buy a PS5 to play this game because I don't feel.
right.
I feel like that's also shitty. That's another shitty thing they did because there's so many other. I don't know. That was.
I think a lot of it had to do with loading times. Like a lot of people with that type of game complain, because you're dying often, waiting a minute
Yeah.
or more to load the level back in after dying, and then going in for a minute and a half and dying and waiting for the same amount of loading time. You just don't want to wait for that. It gets really obnoxious. So I think if they released it on PS4, people would whine like, "Why is this a remake? Why did you even release it for PS4?"
Maybe.
They bitch about it.
Maybe.
So it's like they can't win. So like I bet there's a lot of people that have complained that they can't buy Demon Souls on the PS4 and they can't get a PS5 to play it if they wanted to. And I'm
Right.
sure that's a whole conversation. Sony's just like, sorry.
Hey,
right.
honestly, Aaron.
Hands up in the air, like we can't do anything about it, guys. Chill
Honestly,
out.
Aaron.
Sorry that we both use the same chipset.
Honestly, Aaron, I don't care. I don't really give a shit as long as I get my Metal Gear Solid fucking master
That's true.
rework like Final Fantasy VII did. If I get my Metal Gear
Right.
Solid
Yeah.
remake like Final Fantasy got, I don't
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. They can make shitty remakes for the rest of their lives. I want that game remade in a way that I could, because like let's be honest, guys. At a certain point, like Final Fantasy VII, that remake becomes a game that you look at it and it's like so pretty. You could play that to the end of time. You could play. I mean, I've played it.
it
It's
is.
so much fun, and you're like, I could die and still play that game and be happy with how it looks, and that's what I want. Because Metal Gear Solid
Right.
PS version is like a tough game to play. I mean, it's a fun game to play, but it looks
It's very
visually
dated.
shitty. And if I had a version
Yeah.
that just is like, oh, I love this.
So
That's what I
that
want.
makes me
That's
think of an
fair.
article I saw today. Like
That's fair.
they're
Okay.
like, screw the Snyder cut stuff. Let's do the Hideo Kojima cut of Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yes! Oh my god! How do we get that? I might like that game
Oh,
better.
man, that'd be-
Yes, please.
It really is. It's like Final Fantasy is the perfect one because what they skipped forward, they went from Generation 1 to Generation 4 graphics, and
Right.
like
That-
Metal
that
Gear.
makes sense
Metal
to me.
Gear is another game that's, but also some games just don't hold up that well. I
That's
mean,
true,
I've played some
yeah.
remakes where it's like the game mechanics just, they felt good 20 years ago, but now they just feel really clunky and they don't really work.
Yeah.
And there's a
remake
part
has
of
to
that,
update
Dave,
that.
that's like, how much is this now becoming closer to the vision of the creator? Like,
Yes.
now that the
How much were they
technology
limited
is
by
there,
technology?
this game is closer to the game I wanted to make. So, like, there's a part of it that's like, I mean, hey, motherfuckers, you don't have to fucking buy it. If you hate it, don't buy it. But, like,
So
Right.
I don't know about that, because a lot of these companies have the capability just to be like, hey, we trust you as a company. Can you do this remake for us?
right.
Like Blue
no,
Point
there's some
did
shitty
Demon's Souls.
company. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they had, the original company really had nothing to do with it. Just like, all right, here's the source code, have fun. I'm sure they had some information put into it, like, yeah, we need to keep this, we don't change this kind of stuff. But in the end, like Konami, they don't give a shit about video games. It would be so beneficial if they're like, all right, here, somebody, do this remaster. Everybody wants it, and we know you'll do a good job. They don't have to do it. Konami's never going to do that.
They're just gonna publish
They're
it.
just going to make
They're gonna
shitty
publish
Contra
it.
games and
They're gonna
shitty Castlevania games.
No, but they'll publish the game and they'll make a shit ton of money.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, they will be the name that everybody sees, and
Yeah.
to a few news media outlets and gamers like us that actually pay attention to the company names will love it from the company that actually made it. But the general consensus will be, hey, Konami did this cool thing, check it out.
Yeah,
But
that-
they won't do anything like that. Konami's never going to do
Yeah.
it again.
But they've always happened. They're always gonna happen. I mean, I don't know what the first. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, on PS2 when they started remaking all those like Atari Anthology or Capcom Anthology,
Yeah.
that's kind of
yes,
a remake. I mean, it's not really a remake, but it's a port. It's a work. Some have made it better. Some made it worse. It's been
And then
happening
those-
for a very long time.
Yeah,
it's
all
just
those adventure games like Day of the Tentacle that were released.
Yeah. Well, a lot of those old
Yeah,
arcade
honestly.
titles that add rewind, I think that's where retro remakes, I don't know. You can't really call them a remake because they're not, changing the game.
there's like ports.
Other than adding like rewind and save points.
But they're like ports, and sometimes they make those ports better, and sometimes they make those ports worse. So like
Yeah.
it's
Right.
In some respects, I think they should just do a Streets of Rage 4 kind of approach and just like make something new that's respectful of the old.
exactly.
But
Dude.
it's actually something new as opposed to let's just make the same story that we did last time. I'd
But
rather-
here's
Yeah.
the thing: I'm not gonna get another Metal Gear from Hideo Kojima.
No.
So I want to see the Kojima
No.
cut
But
you're gonna get
of
Death
5. I
Stranding
want to see the
or whatever.
Kojima cut. I want to see what Konami wouldn't let him do. Anyway,
Yeah, it's just reimaginings pretty much. But I think anything after this generation, there's absolutely no reason to do a remake because really, what could you do? The graphics
is true.
these days are so beautiful
Yeah.
it's true.
that
Yeah.
like everything is almost photorealistic. People are taking photos and posting them online, being
You're
like,
right.
"Hey, look at this
You're
photo
right.
I took," and people
Yeah,
are
I've
like,
seen the
"Is
pictures.
that real?"
They're incredible.
What you're seeing is like you're
No.
looking at the N64 and PlayStation 1 era, two of the most groundbreaking consoles with some of the worst looking fucking games.
Oh, yeah,
they haven't
yeah.
You know what I'm
aged
saying?
well
Because we're not
either.
going to get a Ghost of Tsushima remake.
No,
No.
Why would we get that?
No,
that
that's
game is
gorgeous.
beautiful and awesome, and it's never going to really lose unless it's a virtual, like in 2050 and they do like a VR remake of Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah,
there,
You know what I'm
there
saying?
will be remasters in 8K with ray tracing, 120 frames a second.
Maybe.
You know, all the
I don't
modern
know.
stuff, but
But
never a remake.
But it's
No,
those
no.
It'll be
games, it's
updates.
those shitty looking games on the PlayStation, that era that was moving us forward
Those are
into a
ripe.
different. Yeah, those are ripe for the picking, and that's why Metal Gear
because
Solid.
that was the first time they had like really
Yeah,
in-depth stories as well.
that's why you had
Yeah.
Resident
Okay.
Evil 2 getting remake,
Yeah.
2 and 3, and Final Fantasy, and those. That's why that's why
Right.
Silent Hill is probably coming too. It's like those games
It
are like
is.
those games were awesome, and we loved them because they were moving it forward. But you play them now, and they kind of suck. So
Right.
like, let's
It's
go
hard to
back,
play.
make them really awesome, and so I don't know. It'll be less of a thing in the future, I think.
Yeah,
right.
generations forward is going to be harder. I mean, maybe PS3 360 games, anything beyond that. PS4 games did really well. I don't really see a need to ever remake a PS4 game.
Yeah, I've played a few.
No, they're
I've
all
played
good.
a few Xbox 360 games in
And
the last
graphics.
year or two, and they still hold up. You know, they do look a little blurry. You
Yeah,
know,
they're-
not as good as
they're okay.
PlayStation, but they, you know, if there's a good story there, they graphically you can kind of.
Yeah,
know,
but
You can
it's
forgive
not
it. You
high
can forgive it.
resolution.
And if it's
I could
sexy and
see
got
a lot of
boobs,
PS3
it's like,
360
it's cool.
games getting remade still.
Cool. Any other? Okay, my topic. I was really excited that Sony, in partnership with RTS, purchased Evo.
Oh yeah, Evo.
Holy shit, Evo, the massive fighting game competition.
So what does EVO mean?
Oh yeah.
Sorry,
I
Ian,
don't
you
know.
just strung some letters together
Yeah,
there
right,
that I
Evo.
don't know anything about.
Evo is the big
Fighting game.
is a fighting game competition held in like Vegas, and it's just interesting that Sony decided to purchase this like gaming competition. Like Sony is positioning themselves to be the fighting game console. Like every game at that conference or that championship now will be a PS4. They will run, unless it's like a Nintendo Smash Brothers, but like Mortal Kombat. I mean, even if you like follow PlayStation Now, any live competition fight games, they do Soul Calibur, they do Tekken, they do Mortal Kombat. It's just interesting that they're positioning themselves. They decided to take this stance and position themselves as the fighting game console. I think it's really awesome. For me, I love Evo. I've watched Evo every year. I remember watching it in Belize. It's super fun to watch these competitions. I mean, we were literally sitting at the bar, and I asked them to turn it on the TV, and I was watching the fighting game champions, the Street Fighter Championship at the bar.
That's rad.
I don't know. It's just cool. I love it.
Yeah.
I find it's super fun. It's like the one kind of video game competition I actually give a shit about, and you find out all these new kind of like these different gamers that are kind of characters. I just thought it was cool that Sony decided to put a stake in the ground. Like, who cares about Call of Duty and all this other shit? But like that Sony was going to position themselves. Anyway, as a fighting game fan, I thought it was cool.
Its opening paragraph is the Evolution Championship Series, or EVO for short, represents the largest and longest-running fighting games tournaments in the world.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time.
It's well established.
Yeah, I've been watching it for a very long time, and it's one of the one sports I watch. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I've watched it a few times.
I love it. We went. I don't know. I dig it, and I don't care if anyone doesn't care. But it's just cool that they were doing that. That means it's gonna be really well funded and gonna move on. And
really shows that at least the big console dudes appreciate esports. So esports is a very, very large market, but
it is.
I don't recall any of the major game companies really getting behind it.
Well, that's what
I'm sure Microsoft probably has their hands in something.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's
know.
interesting about it. Like, I mean, obviously Sony has bought up studios and Microsoft has bought up studios, but they're buying up a whole. Evo is. I mean, if you're a fighting game nerd, Evo is the most important fighting game championship. That means that every video game is focused on PlayStation. That's huge. Like, that means any Mortal Kombat, Soul Calibur, Tekken, Street Fighter, you're gonna want to play on a PlayStation just because that's a weird thing to think about, kind of.
Yeah, it basically guarantees that they're going to get all the fighting games released on PlayStation.
Right.
It's probably a very cheap way of doing it. For them.
Exactly,
So,
right?
You know,
It's like a really smart and like, oh yeah, we could buy another studio that would hopefully make us a game, or we could just make sure that all fighting games are played on our fucking consoles.
Yeah.
Right.
You know? And I mean, like, and that's a really cynical, shitty way to look at it, but at the same time, it's like, it's super cool because then they're going to be pumping that Sony money into the championship. Anyway, I think it's very interesting. I think it's really cool. I don't know. It just gives. It also gives Evo clout that you have this big gaming juggernaut behind your championship. Anyway, I find it very interesting. I get that it's weird, but anyway, that's
And
it.
Just
No,
very, very quick research. Microsoft has been purchasing like software and that kind of stuff to run esports events and stuff like that, but not directly involved with any esports leagues or any whole esports companies or anything like that. But the software end is very important as well. But that's just what I wanted to look up real quick.
Well, yeah, for sure. But I feel like these fighting game companies have that figured out for the most part. So buying the idea, I don't know. I feel like
it's a really smart idea. If you want to get a market cornered, what's the best way to do it? Buy a major tournament that does it. Like if you want to get into the racing series, get out there and buy the tournament. Buy that little tournament that everybody watches. Or like you said, the fighting one, Evo. I mean, I love my fighting tournament. I love my fighting games. I have actually watched some of those at the Retro Game Expo we go to every now and then. And then I've met people that actually compete in those type of tournaments. They get hardcore about it. And I've never seen.
well,
That's all they play.
Evo's
So-
been pretty huge too because they've had celebrities go to that. I mean, you don't get celebrities at a lot of stupid
No, you don't.
fucking bullshit, but anyway.
Evo
So
is one of them, yeah.
Street Fighter V is still exclusive to PlayStation platforms, isn't it, on PC?
Yes, I think
So
so.
I wonder if that has to do anything with the continuation of the Street Fighter contract, or if there's other fighting games that they have in mind to release or get exclusive contracts with. That could be an interesting foresight there.
See, that's another thing too. That brings Soul Calibur. I mean, Tekken. All these games. That means that that means also that special content will probably be only on those consoles. Possibly.
Well,
Yeah.
people were scared that they would just not do like Smash Brothers and stuff like that. But Sony's like, yeah, we're not changing any of the content. We're just
Well, they're
financial
partnered
backers
up too.
pretty much.
It's not like they're the only ones. It was RTS,
Yeah.
so they didn't buy it out solely. So there's clearly a board, and they're not going to get rid of Smash Brothers. There's no way they get rid of Smash Brothers. That's a huge. That's a huge
Huge
part
gigantic.
of their.
The
part of it.
conversation
I
every
still
year is what edition they're going to
Exactly,
sponsor
so.
that year, or which one Nintendo's going to give them the thumbs up on, because that's the hard part, is getting past Nintendo.
But of all esports, now that Sony's behind it, maybe this will be finally something that gets pushed a little higher. It gets video games legitimized a little bit more, kind of like what Gran Turismo did with Gran Turismo Academy and getting a video game player behind an actual car. Can Sony propel an actual video game to become more in the zeitgeist of competition and less of a stigma that games are only for kids?
Well,
I
feel
could even
it's
see sorry, Aaron, but I could see even tournament matches being in between football matches, instead of commercials, they'll throw an sports match real quick. A fighting round doesn't last very long. About a commercial break, that'd be really cool to see stuff like that.
But there's great stories there. There's great story. When you watch that, it's like you kind of pick a guy you enjoy watching fight, and when you see him rise to the ranks and fight and win, it's very fun, and you see how he interacts. It's a lot of fun. I don't know. I enjoy it.
They also need a good commentator. A good commentator.
But they
can
got
really,
that shit. They have that shit.
Well, that'd be
that's
easy.
what I mean. It's
That'd be easy.
good commentators make it accessible to people who aren't necessarily.
For sure.
So from what I understand is eventually, I think in the near future, I think 2022, or sooner, they're actually going to add esports to the Olympics, if I remember right.
They're trying. They're very trying.
It's been on the docket for a while.
Right.
I think it's going to be a bit longer before that happens, though. I mean, it's on the docket, but snowboarding was on the docket forever.
Yeah, I see the
Yeah, they
PS6
have, like,
coming out before that
trials.
happens.
They have a
but
trial
I-
before stuff gets accepted, and it doesn't always get accepted.
Isn't skateboarding still on it? Skateboarding's been trying to get on it forever, and it's still not.
I think so. Freestyle breakdancing actually did make it, and it's actually in the Summer Olympics. Probably not this year, but I think 2025 is going to make its debut.
That's an important
So
one.
if that's, I know, right?
Breakdancing seems to be like on the same level as skateboarding skill-wise.
What?
Right. Well,
What? No.
Oh, come on.
Well,
No
Yeah.
way. No way.
Skill-wise, I think
I've been
so.
watching Instagram. Tony Hawk has been doing. He's been doing this series on Instagram because he's like 50 something now, and he's been doing his. He's been doing his tricks for the final time because his body's just too old and he can't do it. And he's
Well, yeah,
he pulls off like a 720 or something, and he just starts crying. That's the last time I'm ever gonna do this trick because his body just can't do it. Fucking breakdancing? No way.
Well, you don't
Skateboarding
think
and
that talent
breakdance-
breaks apart too?
I'm sure that Electric Boogaloo Part 2 is incredibly difficult, but it's not fucking skateboarding.
Yeah, it's different talent levels, but yeah, there's every skill has its talent.
What is
tree.
this episode? Anyway, what do you guys think
Talking
about
about
it?
esports.
No, what do you guys
Oh,
think about
yeah.
this new format? It's kind of cool, right? We just kind of
yeah.
a little more discussion.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Any couch co-optionals as we get out of here? Anybody?
So I do have one actually. I don't know if they're everywhere or not, but Muchas gracias breakfast burritos. Just, God damn, they're fucking delicious. Go out and get one if there's one in your area. I know there's up in Washington, down in Oregon, here in Oregon, I should
How
say.
many
but
muchas graciases are there in Oregon? Because there's a shit ton here in Washington. They're like a plague in Washington.
we have quite a bit over here in Oregon too.
Do
I've
you?
seen them
Alright.
everywhere. But no, if they're all, I think they're all over the U.S. But if not, damn it! But you need to get one in your area. Just go for the breakfast burritos. They're
Alright.
good for anything. Yeah, they're
Jared
good
or
for,
Dave, you got anything for the old couch co-optional?
I watched this show on Netflix called If I Hadn't Met You,
All right.
and
Oh.
it's Spanish, set in Barcelona, and it's a little cheesy in places, but I really enjoyed it. It's about this guy that loses his family in a car wreck and then ends up traveling to all these alternate universes looking for...
Is that Ricky Gervais by chance?
No, it's not
No.
Ricky Gervais, but
Oh.
I've seen that one, the one you're talking about, where he loses his
Okay.
wife.
Okay.
All right. What's it called again, Dave?
If I Hadn't Met You.
If I hadn't met you. All right. Jared.
I'll go with an old Jeff Kanata recommendation because my daughters both love it, and it's a really enjoyable show for me to watch as well. It's called Bluey. It's on Disney Plus, and it's one of the
Okay.
smartest animated shows on Netflix from Australia.
Is it
So
really as
the
smart as they
accents are-
say?
It's if you're not a parent or you don't care about kid things, you won't give a crap about it. But if you have kids and you know that kind of attitude, or you want kids or something like that, it's just really entertaining. You know, they have two daughters, and it's just really cute. And they come up with really inventive ideas. It's really smart, and I'd recommend it to anybody that has kids or wants kids even, or just likes animated shows with really good ideas.
All right. Awesome. And I'm going to recommend, because it's the time in the season, Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Oh,
I
you liked it.
recommend
Okay.
all 4 hours.
Oh man.
It's so worth it. It's better than the original. And, you know, is it a great film? No. Is it a good film? Is it better than the original? Yes. Josh Whedon is a hack.
Sounds like
And this film is actually it's really entertaining. I sat through the 4 hours and I was like, oh shit, 4 hours are over? Like, actually, anyway.
Does it really change it up
No,
that much?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
it
it's
sounds
so
like They did a
different.
complete overhaul of it.
So it's like watching a completely different movie.
Tonally, it's different. I mean, ultimately, it's the same story, but tonally, it's different. There's so much more in it. I don't know. It's crazy. I mean,
Superman
I
bad.
I sat through the whole film like, oh. I mean, it's like a love letter to comics. Whereas that original Justice League movie, I was just sitting like, what the fuck is what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? I like the whole time. So this is like, okay, it's a Zack Snyder film. I get it. There's gonna be a lot of slow mo, but I enjoyed it. I
Zack Snyder's
enjoyed
just
it
really good
so
with
much
that.
better. Sometimes shitty films are way more entertaining, and it deserves. And also, just from the idea that fans somehow fought the system and got this guy to allow this guy to finish his vision of the film. I mean, I think I read somewhere that there's only like honestly 10 minutes of Zack Snyder's what he shot in the original Justice League theatrical cut.
Wow.
Like Josh Whedon
wild.
recut, reshot so much and changed so much. That's why there's such a tonal difference. Like the whole ending is like totally different than anyway. I enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
it's interesting.
I get it.
All right.
I get that it's not fucking Apocalypse Now. It's not even like one of the greatest comic book movies of all time, but it's better than what fucking Warner Brothers gave us to begin with. And I recommend
So-
it. I enjoyed
Sounds
it.
like it for me.
I will probably subscribe to HBO for a month because Godzilla vs. Kong comes out this month.
Oh, I need to.
And so that will give me
Something I
another
had.
reason to spend that $15 for that month.
I will tell you, it's better than that fucking shitty Falcon Winter Soldier episode they gave us this week. Ugh,
Yeah,
what a-
it's definitely a slow introduction to.
I mean, it's a
what
slow
the world
introduction, but
is,
it's also
yeah.
like completely unnecessary and some of the worst acting I've ever seen in a Marvel fucking. It's like such bad acting. It's like, oh my.
So,
I watched it this
honestly,
morning.
The whole Jared will
saw
know
the-
this,
the
but
trailer.
all of Sam's sister shit is so like. Why are we watching this? Why is this
It's-
necessary? It's so awful.
It is currently
It's
unnecessary.
so awful.
So-
it's
but
so
it will
awful.
come around. I
No,
think
it won't.
will.
It won't. It's a
Just
six.
like a lot of people complain about the first few episodes of WandaVision. And look what happened to that show.
I love the first few episodes of WandaVision.
Me
I
too.
want to
The
watch
6
those
hours,
episodes.
the 6 hours that we're gonna get from this Winter Soldier thing is a 6-hour film that's gonna need a Whedon cut.
So,
It just leads into the
when I
next movie,
watched-
doesn't it?
I've seen the trailers.
It's
I
awful.
saw the trailers to the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I like Marvel. I really do. But honestly, that made me go.
Hey, if you're bored
No.
and tired of the Marvel like
He's not a
formula,
comic
the
book
stale formula that they've been
person.
like, WandaVision was different. WandaVision was awesome because it was so different. I enjoyed that because it's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
You watch that first episode of like Winter Soldier and Falcon, you're just like, oh, well, here we are again. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's how I felt
Okay.
with that. I'm like, meh.
I
There,
just
there was
so
a couple of little story arcs that could be interesting, but
No,
I don't
no
know.
story arcs.
There's
And
nothing that really
cliche.
hooked me.
and
We'll
cliche
see what
as
happens.
fuck. That whole
See
assassin
what happens.
amends shit, so cliche. Anyway, let's get
see what
out of here.
happens.
Hey boys, I love you guys. You have a good time.
Oh yeah.
Always nice to be here.
Yes,
I
we did.
love seeing you
Yeah,
guys.
I agree.
Wonderful faces and golden locks, all brown and rocks. Brown and
All
locks.
right.
I
We
don't
can
know.
hang out and talk
Aaron's-
some more.
Aaron's hair. Everybody, you should.
Aaron's
check
hair
it
is
out on
awesome.
Instagram.
Luke
If he's,
Skywalker.
if he's
Oh
on there.
yeah, Aaron. Like man.
God
he's-
damn.
he's got
You
some
see,
lovely
mine
hair
is-
now.
mine
can
His
actually
shaved
put it in a
hair.
po-
Oh
I-
man.
Dave's
Mine
kind of
is-
stalled. Dave's is kind of stalled a bit.
Yeah, mine
Yeah.
isn't as flowing as Aaron's.
Ow.
It's
Oh
like
man.
I'm about
gotta-
the same length. It's just maybe I'm going bald. I don't know.
You got to keep that, Aaron.
Ow.
Dave, you are not going
Yeah,
bald. You
I
have
gotta
a
keep it.
fucking thick head of hair.
boy.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Jared, but I think if anyone goes bald here, it's going to be you first.
Yeah, with my two daughters, yeah, probably.
Yeah. Two will
'Cause
do.
Aaron-
Yeah, they drive me a little crazy.
The three of
I don't
us
know, I
have
still
like
got pretty
really
thick
thick
hair,
hair. Three of us have really thick hair, a lot of hair, and Jared's is a little
I'm
thinner
going
than
gray,
us.
so.
I don't know about that. It's just cut.
I like the long hair because it covers up the graying hair at the side.
Oh,
Yeah, well, we
I wish I
we
could-
almost all have salt and pepper going on here.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't.
Yep.
No,
I
Ian.
do.
Ian is
I
surprisingly
got-
sprightly. You look
No,
at my
I'm
beard,
not.
and
I
it's
have
got
no
the
gray.
salt
I have
in it.
no
Yours looking
gray.
good,
Come
man.
on.
Ian's like-
I see you, Ian. Yours is looking good.
All right, so nobody on the other end of this podcast appreciates this conversation, so
What?
we can end this.
No, my
shit.
last question was Jared. Jared, does your dad have a little balding spot? No.
No.
Oh, okay.
The only one that kind of has that is my oldest brother, but even
Oh.
then, he's not like balding.
Though I guess you get
my
balding.
dad. Even he's over 70, and he has wonderful silver hair, a full head.
No, I guess you get it from your mother, right?
What?
Must be, because both my granddads apparently were like bald by the time they were like 30.
Oh man.
All right, let's get out of here,
Well,
boys.
that was to skip you.
What is this? Let's get out of here. I want to thank you all for listening
All right.
and remind you that you can leave feedback on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Couch Co-op Shows.
Oh, no hyphen.
No tips for men.
Remember to please subscribe, share, and maybe leave us an iTunes review. That would be awesome. You can also find us on Spotify. Yeah. I want to thank you for joining me here on the couch. I want to thank my boys for joining me on the couch. Jared, Dave, and Aaron.
Couch Co-op.
Right.
Yeah.
Couch Co-op.
For Couch
No
Co-op,
H in that one.
I'm Ian, reminding you to please be excellent to each other. Let's play this extro.
Couch Co-op.
But then there's always the fun talking. Like last week's episode with Aaron talking over it was pretty great. I like the conversation at the end of the podcast. Yeah. So if you strongly dislike it, feel free to, comment on social media, which exists, but not for us.
That's still a lot of.
We love our listeners. That's the only reason we do this. Well, kind of. We also really enjoy talking
Love
to
you
each other.
guys.
Couch Co-op.
We love you guys. Keep listening and tell a friend.